Congratulations, my name is Tim and today we'll be making orange fudge. So for the recipe we're going to be using, there are 4 main ingredients. We have demerara sugar, butter, milk and a tin of condensed milk. And essentially we're going to put them all in the saucepan, we're going to bring it up to boiling, keep stirring it continuously for about 10 to 15 minutes. And hopefully then when we take it off the heat and beat it, it will start to solidify and then we can put it in a tray to set. First thing we need is 115 grams of butter. I'm not sure offhand what that is in imperial. I'm just going to weigh it in here and then I can change it and we'll tell you. Okay, so that is I don't know, 4.1 of something ounces maybe? That makes sense? 4.1 ounces. And the 0.1 is probably something you probably want a fraction, so an eighth? 4 ounces and an eighth maybe? Okay, so the next thing we need is demerara sugar, which is a sort of unrefined cane sugar in quite large crystals. I'm going to use 450 grams of this, which I guess is about a pound maybe? Look at that, spot on. There you go, 450 now. Next thing we need is 150 ml of milk. Now I found that 150 ml of milk is 150 grams of milk, so I'll just weigh that as well. A little bit too much, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, last thing is a tin of condensed milk, which I'm assuming everybody knows what condensed milk is.
Are you waiting for something dramatic?
I don't know. So just pour that in. Okay, so that's all the ingredients in the pan. What we do now is we bring it to the boil and careful not to cut yourself on these tins. Right. So what we do now is we bring it to the boil. So to do that we need heat. Okay. And because there's milk in there and sugar, lots of things that like to stick. Really a non-stick pan would be best, but we don't have any. And it appears like we don't have any wooden spoons either, because Chris likes to not wash them but to put them in the dishwasher. So I'm assuming now what I have to do is find a wooden spoon from the dishwasher and wash it. And we're going to turn that right down because I can't stir it yet.
I just thought I'd draw to your viewers' attention how brilliantly you looked after my chilli plant while I was away.
It has 2 chilies on it.
For those of you who don't know, I went away on holidays for 8 weeks, came back, and my chilli plant is basically a stick in a pot.
To be fair, it wasn't much different before you went away.
That's so not true. So that's the wooden spoon from the mac and cheese we had for dinner, isn't it?
Yes. You've just got to take all the cheese flavour out of the wood. I don't want cheese fudge. I don't think that would be good. So what we're doing is we're just going to stir this brown goop around The first sign will probably be the butter melting down. It shouldn't have any lumps in it, it should form a paste.
And how long do you expect this to take?
In order for it to all melt and start come to the boil, maybe 5 minutes. So this is the exciting part. This is like when we made the syrup. This is extensive video of Tim stirring a pan.
But Leela's excited. Leela. And Remo's still in the way. I used one of the cast iron pans and there was no sticking at all.
Well, aren't you clever? If you follow Chris's Facebook page, you'll see how that fudge came out.
It was a disaster. But not because of the pan. I think I didn't beat it at high enough speed in the KitchenAid.
Chris is wrong, and what she didn't do was bring it to a high enough temperature for long enough. So you see the butter's almost gone, a few little tiny bits left.
It looks like molten peanut butter.
Yep, it really does actually.
Yeah.
But not like the nice kind, like the kind of Whole Foods peanut butter.
Is that not the nice kind?
No. Where they've included the skin and everything and just...
Do you like the Sunpat stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crunchy or smooth?
Either is fine.
No way, crunchy's so much nicer.
I used to think that, but I'm actually quite partial to the smooth as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what I understand, the key to making fudge like this is to bring it up to 118 degrees centigrade, which is God knows how much Fahrenheit. Nobody uses Fahrenheit over here. No, that's not true. Old people use Fahrenheit, but...
Wow.
But nobody under 40 uses Fahrenheit.
Remo.
So yes, bring it up to 118 degrees centigrade, which is 159 degrees Fahrenheit.
Can I just point out though that you do not have a digital cooking thermometer, so how do you know what temperature you're cooking at?
Well, this is part of the flaw. I have no digital thermometer. I have no idea what temperature I'm bringing it to. This recipe came from the Carnation website originally, not with the orange bit, but just for normal fudge. And they say if you don't have a sugar thermometer, you're supposed to bring it to boil it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then drop little bits into ice cold water. And if it forms like a solid lump, then you know it's done enough. Did you do that?
No. So this is the second time that you've made this recipe, isn't it?
Yes, I made this on Sunday, which is 2 days ago. You see it's coming to the boil now. Keep stirring there.
So how did your first attempt turn out?
It turned out really well, surprisingly well. It was a little bit soft, but nothing like Chris's one. It did stay in solid cubes when I cut it up. It didn't just, yes.
So what's happening?
It's simmering.
That's not simmering, that's boiling.
We're trying to make sure it gets up to 118 degrees C.
Is that what you think 118 degrees looks like?
Well, given that 100 degrees is boiling water, I have no idea. The boiling point is whatever we just went past.
You have no idea.
Because it's now boiling. Of course I don't. How am I supposed to measure what temperature this is?
Well, it's definitely not simmering though.
What do you mean?
Well, that's not a simmer.
What's a rolling simmer? I mean, what?
You don't get rolling simmers, do you? I thought you only had rolling boils.
See, I guess it's so clueless when it comes to, like, cooking sugar. I put our timer on for 10 minutes.
It's a cute timer, isn't it?
Yes, and that way I'll know that I've been stirring for at least 10 minutes when it goes off.
Hello, Mila. What is it doing? Oh, I think she wants some fudge.
I think it's a little hot for you right now, Lila.
Also, you're not getting any because it's very bad for you.
Yeah, that too. Right, so the timer just went off to show that it's been boiling for at least 10 minutes now. So what we're going to do, as it says, because we don't have a thermometer, we don't really know what temperature it is at all. We don't know what temperature it is at all. We're just going to take a little bit and drop it into this bowl of ice water, and we're going to see what happens. Oh dear, it's very liquid. I'll just stick the spoon in. Why didn't I do that before?
So what's happening? What have we learned from this?
So we've learnt it's immediately, well, it's still quite very soft. It hasn't solidified particularly.
So do you need a new spoon every time you do that now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Look at Remo, he's so excited.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cook it for another 5 minutes. 4 minutes. No, another little while. Because I suspect that that's not quite enough. As I say, it's been boiling, or a rolling simmer as I call it, for about 15 minutes. Stirring continuously, trying to keep it from sticking and burning. I think that's about done. So what we do now is we take it off the heat, like so, and keep stirring for another 10 minutes or so. Okay, so now it's off the heat. As we're starting to stir around, we're going to add our orange extract. So we're using this Nielsen Massey orange extract, which is literally just oil of orange and ethanol and a little bit of water. So it's very pure. So we're going to add in the orange extract now as it's starting to cool. We're going to try about 1.5 teaspoons of orange extract. Oh, managed to spill it everywhere. So everything smells very orangey now because that went. Right, so I've been beating it for about 5 minutes and you can see it's really stiff now. It's very. So I think that's enough. I'm not going to be able to. It barely stirs now and it's starting to solidify around the edges. So at this point we're going to grab our lined tray, which was done by me and not very expertly. We're just going to slop the fudge mixture into the down into the tray. I do it with my other hand because I'm right-handed. I'm going to press this down into the tray. And we're going to stick into that. So we're going to use a metal spoon. I'm just going to try and press it down. 1/2 inch maybe. Okay, then all you do is you leave it to cool. Because it's a cooked fudge recipe, it should cool at room temperature. If you want to get it to cool a bit quicker, you can in a bit, put it in the fridge. But there shouldn't be any need to. And then once it's cooled right down, you cut it up into pieces and serve it. And it should store for some amount of time, but it's usually quite delicious, so it doesn't last that long anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it. Right, so the fudge has been cooling off for an hour or so, and it's not entirely cool, but it's cool enough. So you see it's quite solid. I'm just going to lift it across onto a board so we can cut it. I'm just going to cut it into pieces. Hopefully it will cut okay. Oh yeah, it's quite solid.
Unlike my fudge.
Unlike Christine's fudge, yes. Which we put in the freezer, but it's still not right.
What's wrong with it?
It's incredibly sticky. I tried cutting it into pieces after it's been in the freezer for a while, and it wouldn't cut, and the pieces just stuck themselves back together again straight away. This, however, is quite crumbly.
As fudge should be.
As fudge should be, indeed. So I'm just going to cut it into pieces like this. So we'll see what it tastes like. It's very good. It's still a little bit warm. It needs to cool down a bit more. But it's got that sort of crumbly texture that fudge should have. And the orange taste is nice without being overwhelming. I think it could have possibly taken even more orange flavouring than I put in it. But yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much for watching. And if you like the look of it, give it a try.